after. Did you get the shoe yet?
No, not yet. Is it supposed to come today?
Yeah, you should have it today.
Okay.
You'll have it probably shortly after this. So I'll let you guys get started and hit record.
My name is Ross Klein. I'm a senior creative director for men's sport performance footwear. This is 001 of the potential of what it can be as we grow toward the future.
Yo. Hey guys, it's poppin'. Jacques Slade here, and this is the Nike Cosmic Unity. It's the latest release from Nike that touches on two worlds. One is basketball and all things that world brings into the picture, and the other is sustainability. But regardless of all that, this shoe is trash, and Nike knows it. Let's get some of the basic things out of the way first. The shoe is, at its core, a basketball shoe. So despite all of the storylines and the technology involved, the shoe has to meet that baseline first. Is the traction going to hold up? Is it durable? How does it bend? How does it twist? Is it responsive? How does it feel? This is test sequence number 1 with the Nike Cosmic Unity version 001. Due to the current pandemic, I am unable to give these shoes a thorough testing and context. However, I am in a controlled environment and I can give you my initial thoughts. First thoughts with step in, you can feel the Strobel board. Very nice. Lots of padding around the ankle. You can definitely feel the padding here. Toe down really slims. Or the Zoom Strobel board underneath. Nice both with jeans or without. Feels like that's the Zoom Strobel board making that noise. Maybe once the glue breaks in. Feels solid. Foot feels protected. Nice. Fits really well. Lots of great padding all the way around the shoe.
So the benefit of its use in basketball is actually pretty interesting, right? Like you start with the idea of like, okay, we want to really drive less waste, right? We really want to transform trash into something that's an advantage. And so I'll give you something tangible and maybe something to look at is that the use of crater foam. So I'll kind of show you two differences. We started here. And if you see all of the, the big regrind, we call it a mesh size, like big chocolate chips basically in here.
Right.
And where we ended was here, right? Looks like a cement mixer.
Right. Yeah.
It's different.
Let's back up a little bit. The Cosmic Unity represents a circle for Nike. You can see the story they're trying to tell through some of the iconography they use on the box and on the shoe itself. This box in particular can only be used when a Nike product uses at least 20% of recycled material. The way Nike does that with the Unity is through Nike Grind. We've seen this before, and it really became a part of the larger conversation when Nike dropped the Space Hippie back in 2020. Though the process has been around for over 25 years, it's essentially made out of scraps of rubber, foam, leather, textile, and plastic. And in this case, it is composited with the new Nike proprietary foam to create what they're calling crater foam. If that name sounds familiar, it's because, well, you've seen it before on the previously mentioned Space Hippie. However, it did look a bit different. In the Space Hippie, you could see chunks of Nike Grind inside the foam, but with the Cosmic, the grind is a lot smaller and looks more like colored sand. If you weren't paying close attention, you might just mistake it for the typical speckles you see on the midsole, but this application is a bit different. The Space Hippie feels almost light and fluffy. There really isn't a lot of weight to it. The Unity, on the other hand, it feels hefty and weighted. It feels like it can take a beating on the court and you don't have to worry about whether or not it's going to fall apart on you in the middle of the game. I almost call it heavy, which is why you see some of the gaps and carve-outs in the upper of the shoe. While aesthetically it adds shape and stability to the shoe, the weight was also a factor that Ross's team had to take into account. Other areas where you see this come into play is on the outsole. The Cosmic uses a process called thin web. Because of the crater foam being so low to the ground, Nike was able to thin out the rubber in this new process as well. I'm told that the durability isn't impacted, but again, because I haven't had a chance to give them a thorough testing, I can't say for sure. What I can tell you is that based on past experiences, this rubber doesn't really feel any different from the other shoes that I've played in.
Go into like a little bit of the math.
Okay.
Right. So what made this very special of a proposition in the way of designing was that we looked at it like a math equation. We were driving toward at least 25% recycled content in terms of weight, in terms of recycled weight. Mm-hmm. And so let's just say, a component like rubber weighs around 2 to 4 ounces, depending on how durable or how light you want to use it.
Right.
So we looked at a thin web, what we call thin web construction and innovation, to make sure that our web thickness is a lot thinner, driving the weight down of this component, which in turn will drive the weight down in the whole product.
When really looking at the details of this shoe, you start to notice a few little things. One of the biggest standouts to me is this missing window here into the internals of the shoe that you see on the outsole. You get a really good glimpse of how thin the crater foam is underfoot, which should give you a nice feel for the ground, but you also see one of my favorite parts of the shoe, which is the Zoom Strobel board. This tech has been around for a few years now, and it offers one of the best step-in feelings you can get in any basketball shoe. Because the Zoom is pressed nearly right up against your foot, you feel every part of it. It's one of my favorite innovations Nike has made in recent years. And speaking of feel, you get a solid amount of protection all around. From the toe box to the heel cage, your foot feels very protected in these, which brings me to another point, the message of sustainability and how it's leading the charge with this shoe, and then also how it plays deeply into the design. For instance, the Nike swoosh is recycled. Portion of the yarns and materials in the upper are recycled. Even parts of the foam, those you can and can't see, are using recycled materials to help hit that 25% goal Nike set for the shoe. Considering performance is the main driver, Nike made a huge effort with the sustainability angle, and though they leaned heavily into the recycled aesthetic that really kind of makes it feel like a shoe born out of an ISPA and Nike ACG team collaboration, the overall package, it feels complete. Now, of course, there is a lot more to this design that I would say is hidden in plain sight. I don't want to give it all away or give you all the details. You really need to get them in your hands yourself and feel the weight and run your hands along the lines on the upper to see how they were able to send the message of sustainability, but while also making something that a player who spends the whole day playing at his local court can rock and really stay comfortable. It's a thin line to walk, and I think the Cosmic Unity is one of the best we have seen walk that line thus far. For those looking to really dive into a pair of these, they will cost you $150 when they officially release this month on the 26th. This is the green glow colorway, but there are 2 colorways that are dropping in addition to a Black History Month pair that I'm told will be a player exclusive that will not be released to the public.
We did. We really took the spirit of people and knowing our influence to one another and said, let's not forget, please don't forget the power of communication and our partnership. And the way that we speak to each other is the way that we influence each other. We are all inspiration to one another. And that's why I think, the team and our decisions here are really inspired by this project and the continuing sort of notion of what this means. This is a journey. We don't stop communicating to each other. If we do, our impact is a lot less.
All right. Thanks for watching. Hit that like button and subscribe if you like what you see. And I'll see you soon. Peace.